After her husband's death, this woman seeks revenge on a mob boss, delivering justice alone in the most unexpected ways.
Why did you kill my husband?
The film begins with a woman named Sarah, standing in the shower as she washes blood off her body. The next scene takes us back in time, showing Sarah at a grocery store with her 2 children, Lucy and Ben. Ben has lost the ability to speak ever since witnessing a traumatic event. Next, we see Tito, a drug dealer who is spying on 2 mobsters, Terry and Mackers, as they conduct a drug deal on the street. The following day, Sarah goes to the police station to inquire about progress in her husband's murder investigation. Unfortunately, the police have no new leads and advise Sarah to move on. Elsewhere, Tito steals a car and deliberately crashes it into the back of the mobster's vehicle. He then grabs a bag from their trunk and escapes as Terry and Mackers pursue him. While walking home, Sarah and her children are startled when Tito sneaks into their apartment to hide from the mobsters. He ignores their fear, watches out the window until the coast is clear, uses their bathroom, and warns Sarah not to reveal his presence before leaving. Unable to find Tito, Terry and Mackers inform their boss Leo about the theft, who becomes enraged upon hearing the news. That night, Tito forces his way back into Sarah's apartment, threatening to break her window if she refuses to let him in. He retrieves drugs hidden in her bathtub and gives her a portion of the money from a recent sale. Tito declares her home to be his base for selling drugs over the next 5 days, threatening to kill her if she doesn't cooperate. Frustrated with the police's inaction, Sarah visits the park where her husband was murdered. There, she pleads with Ben to recount what he saw that night, but the boy remains silent.
I'm sorry.
That evening, Tito comes back to Sarah's apartment, bringing food and a share of the money he made from selling drugs that day. While Sarah refuses to take the money, Tito makes himself comfortable and watches TV in her living room. Sarah tries to strike up a conversation, asking if he knew her husband or had any information about his murder. Tito expresses sympathy, but claims he doesn't know him. However, when he hears the husband's name, Tito mentions rumors of him being a drug dealer and suggests this might have led to his death. The next day, Sarah realizes the drugs are missing from the bathroom. Her concern escalates when she finds Ben holding the stash and playing with it. She quickly takes it from him, cleans him up, and hides the drugs again. That night, Tito arrives and angrily breaks the glass on her door to get inside. Sarah hurriedly locks her children in their room and confronts him. Tito spots the misplaced drugs on the floor, realizes Ben had them, and becomes furious. Though Sarah apologizes and offers to compensate him, Tito's anger boils over, and he grabs her by the throat, demanding inappropriate stuff as payment for the loss. Enraged, he pins her against the wall and begins choking her, forcing Sarah to grab a knife from the table and stab him in the stomach. Tito collapses and dies. Sarah chooses not to report Tito's death and starts planning how to dispose of the body. The next day, Sarah drops her children off at her mother's house, claiming it's temporary. She then purchases tools, including an axe and handsaw, and covers her bedroom in plastic. She begins dismembering Tito's body, finding a handgun during the process. Though nauseated and vomiting, she eventually chops up the corpse, placing the pieces into plastic bags. After meticulously cleaning the scene, she returns to the shower, connecting back to the film's opening scene. Later, Sarah picks up her children for Ben's psychologist appointment. During the session, the doctor explains that Ben's silence stems from the trauma of witnessing his father's murder, and that he will speak when he's ready. Coincidentally, mob boss Leo Miller is in the same building, getting his injured hand treated. As Sarah and her children leave, Lucy innocently mentions Tito's name, catching Leo's attention. Despite Sarah's attempts to silence her, Lucy repeats the name, prompting Leo to follow them home, though he doesn't act immediately. That night, after putting her children to bed, Sarah discreetly disposes of Tito's remains, scattering the plastic bags in various garbage bins throughout the neighborhood. The next day, while watching the garbage truck pick up her trash, Sarah spots the gangster's car parked outside her house. Later, They confront Sarah and her children, cornering them. Just as they're about to take Sarah away, Ben runs into the street and stops the garbage truck, bringing the workers over. Realizing something is wrong, the garbage men step in to defend Sarah. The mobsters begin fighting the workers, giving Sarah and her kids a chance to escape. During this commotion, Ben speaks his first words and reveals that Leo is the man who killed his father. That night, Sarah seeks shelter at her mother's house. She promises Ben that she will protect him from the gangsters. However, when Sarah goes downstairs, she finds Leo Miller has broken into the house. He demands to know where Tito is, and Sarah assures him she will bring Tito to him within an hour.
So, get the hell out of my house.
Back at her house, Sarah discovers that Tito's men have ransacked the place. Among the mess, she finds one untouched plastic bag, which she takes with her. She then dresses up and heads to Leo's pub downtown. Upon arriving, Sarah is forcibly taken to the basement by Mackers, where Leo awaits. When asked about Tito, Sarah opens the bag and reveals Tito's severed head. Leo laughs at the sight, but his men recoil, calling her a psychopath. Sarah then shifts the conversation, asking if they knew her husband.
Do you remember my husband's name?
Realizing she's seeking revenge, Leo stops laughing and signals his men to kill her. Acting swiftly, Sarah pulls a gun hidden inside Tito's head and shoots Mackers and Terry dead. She then shoots Leo in the shoulder, severely wounding him. Holding him at gunpoint, Sarah demands to know why he killed her husband.
Why did you kill my husband?
With disdain, Leo admits her husband wasn't a drug dealer. He was merely an innocent bystander who tried to intervene when Leo was attacking someone who owed him money. Leo tries to grab a gun, but Sarah reacts faster, shooting him in the head. As she's about to leave, one of the gangsters groans in pain. Without hesitation, she finishes him off with a hammer. Sarah takes the CCTV footage from the pub, ensuring the murders are later ruled as gang-related violence. The film ends with Sarah returning to her life as a single mother, finally at peace after avenging her husband's death.